Velma Season 1 is halfway over, but we're just getting started here on the Velma Fan Club podcast. I'm your host, Simian Jimmy, joined as always by Weekend Warrior.
What a great show, guys. What an amazing testament to Western civilization Velma is. It's amazing.
Well, I want to come back to you after I introduce everybody. I want to give you a chance to rant since you weren't here last episode. But Erich,
oh my God.
Erich, you are currently dog sitting. Did the dogs enjoy watching Velma with you?
No, because I watched it at work.
Wait, does your boss know about this? You're watching something that could be classified as corn pizza, abbreviated, and you're watching this at work while on the clock. Okay, Erich.
The only way I will be watching the show is while being paid.
That's fair. And next we have a man who has watched this multiple times for free, Florian Himsel.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this show. I went back and I wanted to see, was it really as bad as you guys seem to think? And no, it's a good show, and you guys are all insane. I enjoy the characters, and I can't wait to find out what happened. All right.
Did anybody else just zone out for like 15 seconds?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
And finally, we have the Kino Corner.
What's up? I love ugly women, which is why I love these new episodes.
I think the Fred character might have been based off of your channel. Like, I think one of the writers is a fan of you.
Yeah, Fred.
But let's go to Weekend Warrior, because you've seen half of this show now in the span of what, a day?
Yeah, a day.
Half of the first season. What are you bursting at the seams to say?
Where do I start, man? Like, I have some notes. I have an outline already. So I have 3 points, guys. I have 3 points. The protagonist is unlikable, and yet somehow the show wants you to be sympathetic for her. The show has fake nerd references. It exudes like me energy. But the worst thing about the show, my third point is that the worst thing about the show is named Velma is Velma. So we have this autistic scenario where the show wants to be liked and somehow has contempt for its source material. And what fucks with me is how, for some reason, Norville, Daphne, and Fred will eventually or are actually in love with Velma. But she's so fucking unlikable. She's a piece of shit. Like, especially in the last episode where she brainwashes Fred into liking her because he read a book about the feminine mystique. And when Fred is like telling her like, oh, I actually like you because you actually have a personality and you're like a leader and shit. And Velma just rejects him, even though she's the one that gave him the book. Right?
Moment.
Yeah,
he called for the beasts. He said it's a reverse Beauty and the Beast scenario. Come on, man.
No,
you think this is why she has to go for him? Like, this is okay. I like that everyone's becoming Velma's harem. Okay, this is a good development. How can you not enjoy all these people being in love with this weird
I have to imagine this show is meant to be a power fantasy for overweight, nerdy, loser girls in the modern day, and like the fantasy of, oh, what if the girl who's mean to me and the guy I have a crush on and my guy best friend, what if they all secretly love me and they all want to be with me? It's that kind of fantasy. So I can see why it appeals to Florian so much. He's the target audience, like a loser teenage girl.
Yeah, that's definitely me. Yeah, it really speaks to me.
Erich, let's hear from you. What do you think of these new episodes of Velma?
I'm disgusted by this show. Like the need this show has to objectify and make minors into sexual objects constantly.
And you were watching this at work.
I was watching this at work.
Oh yeah,
that's on you.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
That's on you, Erich.
At least in Euphoria, those actors are older.
Okay.
For this show, they're drawings of minors, so they are minors.
Yeah, and I didn't even think of that. Irich. It was only when you pointed it out, like, oh yeah, the policeman made a minor do a hottie list for other minors. That's so fun.
Yeah, they made a list of the top 4 sexiest minors at this fucking school.
Well,
They
what
can
is
have
going on?
police detail.
Rich, you used to be
Yeah.
a high school teacher. Was that not happening in the teacher's lounge?
No, of course not.
Kino Corner, what's your experience with sexy teenagers?
Well, I had my own list in high school.
I bet.
that,
I bet you were at the top of a lot of women's lists too, huh, buddy?
Well, my lists in high school were a little less like sexy teenagers, and it was more. I won't get into the nature of those lists. But
Hold on.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Taking note of that.
Is it the top 5 movies of all time, and they're all just sallow? Is that the list?
Hey, I didn't quite take the Pasolini pill at that age. All right.
Okay,
I was a little bit
okay.
more of a normie. No, so I did think it was weird. It's just like, okay, they're killing hot girls. Now let's have the police force talk about how. Let's have the police force like say, oh yeah, it's hot. Like here's who we think are the hottest girls, and then they give it to Velma, and it's like, why? I don't know. Like I just don't even think about anything that happens in this show anymore. Like I just assume it's gonna be dumb.
The plot is
They have an
Velma
excuse,
is in
yeah.
charge of taking the hottest girls in school and making them more like her so that they won't be targeted by the serial killer who only kills hot chicks. Velma has to use her expertise in being a fucking loser to make them ugly.
Oh,
But then wouldn't it just move down the chain? Like, would there
Yeah.
not just be 4
Yeah, they're-
more hot girls to kill?
that's a good point, Irich. I'll put that in a hypothetical
Well,
scenario.
eventually,
doesn't
at
make
the end,
sense.
every single person needs to dress as Velma, and then there will be no hot people left to strangle or whatever, to scalp their
Yeah.
head.
Like, and the thing too is like it's not even funny about it because it just turns into them
Preaching.
just sort of preaching to each other about what being a woman is for like so fucking long. Like,
Oh.
and and it's like, no, your vision of womanhood is restrictive and whatever, because you think women should be ugly and crass and like loserish, not beautiful. Everything about the show is very like preachy. I mean, the whole like Norville, Shaggy, whatever, have like becoming a therapist, and its one joke is I put on the cardigan, and then people are just like, oh, I don't know, maybe
That is like the worst C plot from like the bad writing team at Rick and Morty. Like you put on the cardigan and you become a magical therapist. That's the level of writing for like half of the fucking plot of this episode. Like it's not even a C plot; it's half the show.
yeah.
Well, you don't get it.
it's
He
the
was
same
already.
joke.
He already knows about therapy. Okay, they just didn't trust him, but now they do, and I think that plot was all right. Okay,
Florian, do you go to a therapist?
not recently, no.
Oh, how recently have
I
you
think-
gone?
Last year.
Oh, okay. Marriage
I think
counseling.
you need to go more.
I mean, I went because it helped me work more, but then I thought I probably still have to rely on myself, so I stopped going. I probably might want to.
And now you're working less than ever. Maybe you should go back.
I mean, I was also sick. I think I'm getting back into working. Well, it's gonna work out, okay?
The
I did see
therapist
her-
can make you not sick, Florian. That's not what they do.
That's not what I was talking. You
I'm
motherfucker!
joking. I'm joking.
I just wanted to say I actually happened to meet her today in the supermarket. So there you go.
Wait,
very
you're like
relevant
Tony
to my
Soprano.
life.
You got the sexy female therapist, Florian.
Yeah, naturally.
Okay, well, that's more interesting than Velma, but Weekend Warrior or Kino, do either of you have any Velma points you want to continue with?
Mm.
Well, for one, they determined that Fred's actually not guilty because the murders continue while he's in prison. But let's also be real that they never had even any evidence.
Yeah.
In the first place to put him in prison. except for what, like a tantrum that he had, like, and yeah.
Okay, go ahead, man. Sorry.
And then he's like, well, of course, he's in prison for all of like half an episode, anyways, or one.
Did you
episode.
enjoy his prison break plot line?
What plot line?
Ultimately, they start a riot and they escape from prison by one prisoner throws a guy through the wall of the entire prison, and he smashes through it to make a giant hole. The guy gets up unharmed, and then they all just go out of the hole. It was so the barrier of escape was so weak. Just the force of a human body could completely obliterate it.
Well, these are cartoon physics we're talking about here.
Yeah,
and I did enjoy it. Okay, I like how Norville had his appointment where he was going to have group therapy with everyone in jail, and then he missed it because he went and because Velma strong-armed him into taking her somewhere, and then he abandons her to try to get there, and it was so good. And then Fred is the one who starts the riot, but because he is disappointed that Norville has abandoned him in this moment, and the other guy's like, yeah, I guess we're gonna riot. Just calmly says that. It was great, okay? I really enjoyed it.
I think Fred is unironically growing on me, and he is my favorite character so far.
Okay, can I just go back to Kino's point? I'd just like to add, they also had the same plot line as She-Hulk, where they tried to prove a white guy innocent by making him look dumb.
Yeah,
making him be embarrassed.
This show takes a lot of what She-Hulk did wrong and makes it even wronger. They also have contempt for their audience and always talk shit like, 420, that means adults who watch cartoons. They hate the audience so much.
Yeah, I mean, from the first few, there's like a speed run for how much I hate the show. Like, aside from the initial trailer, right? The first few episodes, like she was talking about origin stories. It's about just how a white guy gets stronger, or how a female goes, how did she become a psycho? What shows are those? Or how would you look at an origin story of a superhero or a comic or an anime about a strong female, an actual strong female protagonist, and go, oh, she's a psycho? That says more about the person saying it than the actual media they're talking about.
Yeah, so she's creating a straw man argument and revealing a little more about her own opinion by accident.
Yeah, she's a faker. Like in the intro, also like in the shower. Oh, I have so much to say about that.
I bet you do.
Wow.
Yeah, in the intro, right? Like, this is the part. If there was some sexual tension, this would be improved. And then Daphne goes, but in some other genre thing, that wouldn't happen because it's stupid. And it tries so much to say that it's a poser. That's what I hate about it. It's like, how do you do, fellow nerds? I'm also a nerd. But I'm actually shitting on the thing I say I represent. It's such a fake piece of shit. That's an insult to shit.
And
the
also,
shit is actually biodegradable.
I have to assume all the writing staff are people in their 40s writing for teenage characters in the modern day. So it is literally posers. Every single thing in piece of dialogue is just posing.
Yeah, I think also it's very cynical. I think they deliberately designed it to trigger not only nerds like Scooby-Doo fans, because people are hate watching it, and they go, the first episode had so many views, but that views do not translate into people wanting to support your product. People talked about Morbius, and that didn't. They had a second release of Morbius. They tricked the executives who don't know shit about culture, and it failed again.
I brought this up. I brought this up on the last episode where it was the number one opening for an animated show on HBO Max.
Yeah, the comment section shit on me for that one because I guess it turns out there is no other show that ever came out. So I guess you didn't really have much competition.
Yeah, it was basically Santa Inc. was the competition.
Yeah, up against a show that was so underviewed that they just erased it from existence.
Yeah. I think this is definitely better than Santa Inc. Okay, all the jokes in this, they actually flow into the story. In Santa Inc., they're just stupid stuff that doesn't make sense, and it's
I agree with Florian. No, I agree with Florian. If you guys will remember, I quit Santa Inc. after 2 episodes, and I'm 4 episodes deep into this one without quitting.
Hell yeah.
Well, with Santa Inc., at least all the episodes came out at once, so we could just rip off the Band-Aid to do the podcast, you know?
Yeah.
And then with this one, it's just like, oh no, it's 4 weeks, 2 episodes a week. It's good.
Well, I think you guys are wrong about this one. I've tried rewatching.
That could be a quote
She-Hulk.
taken from any episode of this fucking podcast, dude. Oh, I think you guys are wrong here. Yeah, every episode.
Wow, okay.
Oh, Florian disagrees with everybody. Oh, which episode could this be? I just jumped in the middle.
Hey, I tried rewatching She-Hulk, and it was so cringe that I died. And the same thing with Santa Inc., because he just went on a dick joke that goes on for like 5 uninterrupted minutes, and I died there too. And I rewatched this one, seen it all twice, and I enjoyed it the second time even more, okay? I think you guys should give this show a sincere chance, and don't be offended so easily. You say this is posing because these writers are a bit older than the kids, so what? This is an old show.
No, I'm saying that's not what I said.
Well, that's what I said. I said that, and I mean it.
Okay. Yeah, I think.
How hard would it be to get the perspective of like?
bad.
Well, Everidge said last episode that this is written by a very specific group of Twitter people, like the 40-year-old turf comedian Twitter circle. Is that right, Everidge?
Yeah, they're definitely on the older side of comedians now.
Yeah, so when they're trying to use like lingo that a 15-year-old would use and like references and stuff, it's just like it all comes across as fake. And like the sense of humor is really trying hard to be Rick and Morty self-aware. I really think Dan Harmon has ruined an entire generation of comedy.
Yeah, well, let's talk about. You didn't talk about the whole Cobra Kai or whatever Karate Kid tournament they got going on at their school. So one of the plot lines is because of the serial killer being back on the prowl, they decide to have self-defense lessons at the school, which is essentially just getting all the girls to beat each other up, which I guess is cool.
Funny. Cool.
But, you know, it's like, we know that it's really going to come down to Velma and Daphne fighting each other. But there's a pretty funny moment where she just steals Daphne's diary.
Yeah.
But it completely, like, doesn't... Like, the thing is, it's like, it could have gone somewhere that would have been interesting, but all Velma says is like, I have her diary, and I'm like, oh shit, like, is this gonna take like a turn for something? And then she's just like, Daphne goes to therapy. I'm like, there's a million more interesting things you could do with that, and it felt like that entire plot line was leading up to that, and it was a huge dud. Like,
well, yeah, at that point in the story, the dramatic tension is between Daphne and Velma, and they just shared this kiss at the end of the last episode, and they don't know how to confess their feelings for each other. So I was thinking she would read from the diary of Daphne narrating like the kiss and like revealing it to everybody, so that Daphne can't be ashamed and hiding in the closet anymore. And then, where they went with it, she's been going to therapy. That's the dumbest fucking shit.
Can I also add, like, since we're adjacent to some psychological shit, I don't think the panic attacks work for me. Especially when one of the cures is shitting on someone who wants to help you.
Or if somebody's having a panic attack, just start making out with them and maybe it'll stop.
Exactly.
That would work on me, ladies. Wink, wink.
Well, I like the panic attacks. I like that I think she's actually, like, sincerely too stupid to understand that Norville likes her. I mean, I guess that's...
No, but at the same time, she knows that Velma and her have something, and Norville is already, like, telling her explicitly, but somehow I actually blame Norville more than Velma, because Norville's an idiot.
I hate how they make Norville just to be such like this beta.
Fucking weak.
No, I think he's gonna develop greatly. Okay, you guys are just seeing like the people before the arc.
Florian, I'm gonna predict the 5th episode because it's such a basic bitch plot. He's gonna fall in love with Gigi, and then Velma will feel the jinkies. Yeah, and is it Scooby? No, in the fifth
that was
episode,
a
in the
joke.
fourth episode, yeah, that was a joke. She's Gigi, but she looks. I would not put it past the writers that they could have done that.
Is that so? That viral thing that went around that they turned Scooby into a black woman. Now we're saying that that's not true.
Yeah, that's not true.
Well, how do we know that they're not going to call her Scooby in the second half of the season?
Well, that's another possibility that would not surprise me for whatever.
Yeah, people can't just act like we know. Like, we haven't even been introduced to their relationship yet in the show. It was like just a preview for next episode.
I'm fairly certain that people who have seen the entire series have said that it's not true.
Well, I'm going to hold out hope, Rich. You can't take that from me.
All right, hope away.
So this was the girl that Fred thinks has the big boobs and is therefore one of the top 5, right?
No.
No.
I think that's Maxie.
I could have sworn it was
Gigi is one of Daphne's friends. Yeah, the long hair, the big boob lady had lighter brown skin, and Gigi's just black.
I thought it was the one Velma made wear overalls.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I was racist again. Oops.
Well, speaking of racist, I think Velma might be a sexual racist because she's only interested in, white Chad Fred and Daphne, who, Asian, which if you're going to go in the echelon of races, like people, if they're going to be racist, it's going to be probably more against a black guy than an Asian woman. And Daphne also has very white aesthetic features, like the straight red hair. So I think Velma just wants to fuck white-looking people, and that's why she ignores Shaggy's character.
Yeah.
Well, she did turn down Fred.
Yeah, but even in episode 3, she's still obsessing over him.
Yeah, like one of the jokes is the hand. She pretends it was Fred, right, when she's making out with herself.
So you said this earlier, Weekend, is that now we have Norville, Daphne, and Fred basically all lusting after her. Fred, after he reads the feminine mystique, he goes from liking basically big boobs and butts or whatever to like, oh, look how liberated this woman is. And I love this like woman who's like an artist now. So then he can really appreciate Velma
for who she is. Yeah.
For who she is. And that's like a at the end she rejects him. However, it's not to show how like self-conceited she is. It's actually to show that like, oh well, he's just one of those like male feminists now that still only wants to get in my pants, but it's just like saying that he likes my liberation. But she was like talking about pretending she was making out, with him all the time. So it's not like, okay,
don't
pretend that your head's not in the gutter.
Yeah, and when the phone rang or the text was when Fred called her, it was Fred topless, or right? It's such a it's such bullshit.
Well, she's like, I'm keeping this.
He sent her that.
He sent that photo. But then she's like, also, I'm keeping this photo.
For me, yeah. It's still bullshit.
Like, it's just hypocritical. Yeah, and it's a show. They make her fairly contemptible, and it goes to times where I'm thinking like, okay, is this show supposed to be like shitting on her or something? But then it's actually kind of obvious that like, she's contemptible, but she's also supposed to be the moral or the best person in the show.
No, I really don't think that's true. I think she doesn't really act that well. I think that the show is aware that she's not that good, okay? I think we just need to let it play out and see what it ends up being, I guess.
But a contemptible person, like a person who's really that like selfish and stupid, is just...
Why would people like her?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the question.
Why is it that like so many people like her?
She's supposedly really smart. She solves like a lot of mysteries,
Yeah, she's still an asshole. Why would people like her if she's an asshole?
Yeah, I mean, she's not portrayed well. Like, the thing with the diaries is such a huge dick move, and everything she does with Northville. I mean, I really don't know how you can say that she's supposed to be the moral center.
Well, the show portrays her like that.
It's supposed to be like, oh, she's making mistakes. Like, she's just doing what she's a teenager just making mistakes and all that kind of stuff. But it's like whenever she is a dick, everyone around her is just like, oh, well, that's actually kind of okay.
Well,
and she also does not adequately change enough after learning the lesson that it seems like anything is sticking.
Yeah, and it really rubbed me the wrong way too when after the whole like getting her stepmom or whatever into the ambulance, and she's like, "You were a hero," and she's like, "I was like the best woman in the world," and it's like,
oh come on, that was
clearly no.
insincere.
This is the problem, Florian. Like the scene before that is almost like some moment where Velma realizes that she might be wrong because she was called out by Olive that your definition of being a woman is restrictive. And then she just becomes a total bitch still at the end.
No, but she saved the baby. Come on, man. She's earned that one.
She's still a bitch.
She saved the baby. Come on. Cut her some slack.
Yeah, she saved the baby by literally jailbaiting everybody.
Yeah, by jailbaiting the hot... By objectifying
and by
people.
Attacking everyone like a King Kong. You know?
Well, I thought that was actually I liked the moral of that scene where they're trying to get the crowd to go away, disperse. Yeah, because it proved that maybe hot women using their looks to their advantage and ugly, frumpy women using their brains, maybe both can exist. Okay, maybe both can be good. I think Velma has a deep understanding of gender, and both of these types of women can both exist. I agree with the show.
Yeah, she's learned this.
I love how she's like, I can use my my glasses, and my sass, or something like that, and all it really is her going and like punching people. Get them away.
Yeah, she's like so animalistic sometimes.
Irish, do you ever get worried Irish, do you get worried at work that the show will make you laugh so hard that everybody will notice you're not working?
No.
What do you mean no?
I am stone-faced. I am stone-faced throughout the whole episode.
You're stoned at work, Irish?
No.
Oh my god.
Norman would not approve.
No, Irish, tell me, I'm not hearing enough from you, Irish. Please tell me about your experience of watching this at work.
So I have a little area that I can just sit back at, and people won't come and bug me. And if I've already done everything I need to do, I can just sit back there and watch TV. So I just sit there and watch the episodes, and my mind wanders, and I'm on my phone for half of it. And,
wow, you're pulling a Florian. This show is so bad you can't even watch it.
Wow. Yeah, like I said, you guys need to give it more of a chance, okay? It's actually not that bad.
Hey, I'll have you know, I watch it with subtitles on and I read the subtitles, so I'm absorbing the script probably better than you are, Florian.
Florian, what is good about it?
Well, the jokes weave into the story. The jokes are actually kind of funny sometimes.
I don't agree. Agree.
Like, how are they not funny? How does that work out for you?
It works out for him by he doesn't laugh.
No, I wrote down some jokes that made me laugh this time. You guys want to hear them?
Sure.
So Fred's in jail, and the guard comes up and says, "There's some sort of talking meatloaf here to see you." And Fred immediately says, "Oh, Velma," like he knows exactly what he's talking about. Fred is also he's upset that he's called to talk to somebody at jail because he was attending mosque. So Fred's a Muslim and he's pulled out of mosque. Fred also says his dad taught him to never pay attention to women over the age of 35. If not a joke, I thought that was just a good life lesson. I like that the dean from Community plays the mayor, and Buck Strickland from Strickland Propane is the voice. No, I like that. I like the performances. You can't take that from me. A good performance is a good performance, you rich motherfucker. You can't take that from me. It doesn't matter if the script sucks. I gotta hear Buck Strickland's voice.
So according to you, movie 43 is one of the best films of all time because it's got a huge, amazing cast.
I would say it's probably better than at least one movie.
Is it a faster movie?
It's probably better than at least 42 movies, and that's why they called it that.
Oh wow, incredible!
Oh yeah,
and we're going to be on a journey to find. We're going to find all 42 movies that are worse.
A joke that I liked is when she was dancing in the mirror, and then the mirror shatters because of her butt. But it's not because the mirror is is hating her butt, it's because she tumbled into it. Okay, I think that was smart. Okay.
What?
She was practicing twerking in the mirror, and her fat ass broke the mirror. Rich, how did you not rip, roaring, laughing, slapping your knee, fucking breaking guts in orbit, sides fucking in outer space?
That barely registers as a joke to me. Barely.
Well, if you think about it, it's the meme where the mirror breaks, but this time she did it with her clumsy butt. Okay.
Okay, we're at 30 minutes and we have 5 people, so we have 5 final thoughts to get through. So let's start doing them. Who wants to give their final thoughts? Kino, I know you do.
Final thoughts is that it was very difficult for me to get through these episodes, and it felt like, I don't know, like I was a prisoner of war being tortured, which I am, and Mumkey is my captor. So.
Well, we only have 2 more podcasts to do. So are you going to be able to do this 2 more times, Kino?
Yeah, I'll be able to do it 2 more times. I'm glad that they're releasing 2 episodes a week just to get it done with.
Yeah, how many She-Hulks did we have to do? Like 9?
Yeah, I think
9.
so. It's
Yeah, this is so much better. Kino Corner is a regular John McCain over.
A prisoner of war, just holding out until it's over.
I'm gonna try to be president like a couple decades from now. I'm gonna cite this.
You're gonna run for president of Is It Kino and kick me off?
I'm basically I got the John McCain experience that was from Family Guy.
Oh gosh. Is that your final thought? Is go watch Family Guy instead of Velma?
Yeah, you know that basically Velma is like that scene in Family Guy where it's like the parade, the Veterans Day parade, and Peter goes into that bamboo cage called the John McCain experience, and the Vietnamese guy starts poking him with the stick.
Speaking of Vietnamese guys with sticks, Weekend. Let's go to you.
Excuse me, I'm a Thai doctor.
That's right.
Excuse me.
My bad.
I changed lady boys into lady men. Okay, so
Wait, why do they need surgery for that?
like
It seems like a
sometimes
puberty thing.
No, they need some hormones. They need some extenders.
To go, you need hormones to go from boy to man.
Yeah, mistakes into miracles. Yeah, so
Whoa.
Velma, right? There's this weird pattern I'm seeing where why is it that the people who have shows where it's supposed to be nostalgic and everything, the writers that inherit the show seem to hate the thing they're writing about. It seems like they feel that they're better than the show they're better than the show they're writing for. Velma really seems like that. She-Hulk seems like that. Like they have contempt for the source material. They have contempt for the audience. The funny thing is, right? The writers, like Mindy Kaling primarily, thinks that Velma is the top shit, but really the writing just shows to the audience how much of a piece of shit she is. And I don't know who this... Oh, I know. Velma is written for Mindy Kaling, obviously. But
I think Velma's
else
written for YouTubers, because our Velma review is more popular than any She-Hulk episode we did. Like, people wanted to hear us talk about Velma, so I think you should make a video for your channel, Weekend.
Yeah, I think Velma becomes, like somebody posted on our chat, Velma becomes the #1 worst rated animated series in IMDb history. And that shit beat out all 2022 years of history before this. That's amazing.
There's no way it's worse than Arcane.
No way. Arcane's like number...
That's me trying to make somebody
like
really mad.
#2.
Just trying to make some commenter shit his pants in fury. I haven't even seen that show.
No, Arcane actually has, an actual strong female protagonist, guys. So if you haven't watched
Velma's
Arcane,
in that show too?
Is she? Shut up. I hate this show, man.
Yep, she's solving this.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So anyway, if you're leave Velma watching to the professionals, people watching the podcast, you're hearing it. Yeah, you need some sort of protection to watch this, like some sacred seals or some doctor's prescription. So yeah.
Basically, think of us as 5 Doug Walkers, you know. We remember it or we watch it so you don't have to.
It's more like 2 girls, 1 cup, where you can watch us eat shit and you don't have to eat shit yourself.
Wow.
5 guys, 1 cup. Oh my god.
Yeah, 5 guys, 1 Velma.
Oh,
Jeez,
no, fuck.
no.
Oh, I'm gonna throw up. Oh.
That's literally what we're doing here. It's 5 guys discussing 1 Velma TV show. Like, it's the show's called Velma. First of all, I'm going to call this podcast 5 Guys 1 Velma now.
No, they're gonna think we're gonna use her like a cup. You madman!
Ew.
What are you doing?
Hopefully
So
not a diva
disgusting.
cup. E-Rich, it's your turn.
Oh,
All right. I hate doing this. I hate being on this show. I'm still going to do it, but we are part of the problem. When
True.
a show like this gets made, when a show like Velma gets made, it is literally just cashing in on any kind of nostalgia that an audience has for a pre-existing thing. And the writers, the directors, probably everyone involved here knows that this is literally just Warner Brothers reaching into their fucking IP barrel, pulling out something and then throwing it against the wall and being like, what will make people talk about this? If this is a regular Scooby-Doo show, I don't know that anybody would be talking about it. But because it is this shitty comedy thing that is like meta and not doing it particularly well, it gets a lot of views, it gets a lot of attention, and in the business, any attention is good attention, even if it's fucking bad attention. So we are only perpetuating this cycle and making it so that they will make more Velma because people are talking about it regardless of what they're saying.
Well, E-Rich, I want to mostly agree with you, but there is a misconception out there that because of the hate watching, it got renewed for season 2. But if you look at the history of the timeline here, HBO renewed it for season 2 before episode 1 even came out. So, they were doing it regardless.
I mean, they might have seen that there was a lot of buzz about it because I remember when
the Ghostbusters, the female Ghostbusters had a lot of buzz from the trailer too. The movie fucking bombed.
Did it?
Didn't do well.
Yeah, I think it's because I agree with Erich. This is the part I said where it's cynical. They really wanted to trigger a lot of people so that people will talk about the show. But I think they're underestimating, viewership. Like in Thailand, we don't have HBO Max here in Thailand. Guess where I'm watching it, you fucking idiots. Like
watchcartoonsonline.com or some shit like that.
No, ThaiCartoons.net. I don't know. but yeah, so I agree with Erich to some extent. Like all these reviewers talking about Velma are helping Velma exist. But how much of it will actually factor in the 3rd season or beyond?
Oh, I would be shocked if episodes 3 and 4 even have retaining viewership at all. Like, everybody's going to hate watch episodes 1 and possibly 2, but is anybody going to come back for week 2 other than people like us who are doing it for entertainment value?
I think yes, because people want something to get mad at. That's just how it is.
No, leave it to us, the professionals, to get mad at it. And then we'll tell you, yes, you are right to get mad at the Velma.
So, Florian, are you happy that it's getting renewed?
Yes, I'm ecstatic. I can't wait for more of this. It's gonna be great. I don't know how you guys can be so outraged about it. Like, the actual quality of the show can't possibly be the worst show ever. That would just be incredibly unlikely, and I don't buy it. I think the jokes are better than that. I think the performances are better than that, and the art is definitely all right.
Well, let's evaluate that question, Florian. Weekend, what was the stat that you gave? This is the lowest ranked show in IMDb under what category?
1.3. Worst rated animated TV series in IMDb history.
Florian, can you think of an animated TV series that you would consider to be worse than this? That's lower than a 1.3. Sure. Okay, what?
Well, I mean, it's not lower, obviously, but I think it's worse. I mean, there's definitely shows that I literally couldn't watch because they're so bad. There's a show called The Hollow on Netflix, and it's just so bad, and I don't know how it is considered to be mediocre, but it exists, all right.
And it's worse than Velma.
I mean, nobody has heard of it, so I guess it's probably fine.
It's committed less damage to society because nobody watched it.
I mean, I definitely think that Santa Inc. is worse because the jokes actually go into the story here, and they aren't just like non sequiturs. So
are those your final thoughts, Florian?
Well, I mean, I just think that it's not fair that people are judging it this harshly because they can't divorce it from their childhood nostalgia. I never watched Scooby-Doo. I think I would hate it. So I definitely think that Velma is probably better than that. if I had to watch that old Scooby stuff.
I think maybe we should one day make Florian watch one of the good animated Scooby-Doo movies for Is It Kino? Because that's like my big childhood nostalgia. I rewatched all those probably millions of times, as a kid.
Sure.
Have any of you enjoyed any of those old movies?
Zombie Island, one of the fucking best ones.
Yep.
Well, that one's not animated, right?
No, yeah, that is.
Scooby-Doo where the first Scooby-Doo movie live action was I liked it.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about the cartoons, cool. But
I think I liked it as a kid. I remember when I was like in grade school, I had chicken pox, so in the afternoon I had to watch Scooby-Doo team up. Like I was just at home. I liked watching the Scooby-Doo team up with a random cartoon character. That was funny.
Or like the Harlem Globetrotters would show up one episode.
Harlem Globetrotters, Batman and Robin. Yeah.
I mean, those are like the old ones you were watching.
Yeah. Yeah, it was ancient.
Just getting
TV
really old. The reruns, yeah.
They do something cool in the Cyber Chase movie where like the 90s or like the early 2000s interpretation of the characters meet like the original version from like the original run of the show. It was pretty cool. And Everich, we sounded stupid last episode talking about Fred's voice actor, or maybe I just sounded stupid.
Yeah.
But it turns out
I did too.
He's voiced Fred like in everything ever made. So I was wrong.
Welker is one of the biggest voice actors ever.
Yeah.
Did Fred talk to himself in that movie?
Yeah, no, they all did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, the Cyber Chase movie, if I recall, is kind of cool.
Well, yeah, I just really... I mean, I guess it works. I guess it works for them to just put it out and then people hate it and it gets views. But to me, I don't see it as a bad thing if they make a comedy about a show that existed earlier. They did a Thundercats reboot a while ago that was a comedy, and I think it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be, but they hated it because Thundercats was like cancelled and rebooted twice, and they were sick of it, and they thought it was disrespectful. But like, what is all this respect for? Like, let some cool comedy happen, all right?
Erich, as a lifelong Star Trek fan, how do you feel about the animated Star Trek cartoon?
Lower Decks is really good.
Oh yeah.
So you're not offended like everybody is by Velma. No. So it can be done right, huh, Florian?
Yeah, I mean that one's definitely really good, so it makes sense. But
I've watched a bit of the other one, Prodigy, which is also all right, but it's more for kids.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Oh, if it's for kids, I bet Florian's seen the whole thing like 5 times now.
One time, jeez. But yeah, I mean, like. It's easy to mess up, I guess. It didn't used to be. I guess you could make like a really bad installment in a franchise and you would still be all right. But now, I guess if you have like a little contempt for it, it's not good. But I feel like the little chaps they have at the characters, I think it's funny. I think it works, but I'm clearly the only one.
My main issue early on was how mean the characters were to each other, and I think like now they're episodes 3 and 4, like now that they're spending more time with each other and we see Shaggy and Daphne go off on their own little thing, they're slowly warming up to each other, and I have to imagine they'll all be friends by the end of the show and eventually be like the mystery gang or whatever. So I like the direction the show is going. I think it's getting better as it goes. Not to say that it's getting good, just slightly better. And
so it's like instead of diarrhea, it's just harder shit now. Is that
it's slightly improving from some of the issues I had in the pilot episodes. And I also wanted to add that in the last episode, I might have been a little angry at the show, and this time around, I think I've had a change of heart. and I feel a little more goofy and happy about it because it really gives me nostalgia to when I was in high school. And me and my friends would just sit in the basement after school and go online and watch horrible shit, like just horrible videos that nobody would ever enjoy. And it was so much fun, you know, taking the piss out of it and hanging out with my friends and making fun of it. And I'm glad that we have Velma and all 5 of us can come on and we have like this thing that we can all come together and something disgusting to share and enjoy and make fun of. So I hope we get 10. If we're gonna keep podcasting, I hope we get 10 seasons of Velma.
Yeah,
God damn it, you had to have the fucking warm-hearted take on this.
Yeah, I can't shit on that.
I mean, if I'm gonna be completely honest, podcasting with you guys about this dog shit is the best part of my day. Like, what else do I do all day?
Oh man,
Normal life is shitty. This is fun.
No, no, I have to shit on Velma harder now.
Yeah, do it for me.
I hope that Velma keeps getting better, and I hope it doesn't pull a She-Hulk where it turns out that the whole story didn't matter to them at all in the end, and it was just like some stupid joke to break the fourth wall and talk to the director and tell him how everything's awful, even though you're writing the show. I hope they don't do that, and I have confidence. I feel like this is way better, and I think it's gonna please me, and I'll be the only one enjoying it.
You were pleased after the shower scene in episode 1.
No, that scene was awful. Yeah.
And I hope that Florian is disappointed with the ending. Can I just say?
Well, I mean, you have to watch it too. I'm sure you'd hate it even more. You hated the She-Hulk ending, right?
Yeah, we hated it. That was a Simian Jimmy Treehouse first, like.
Yeah, you
like
guys came together.
Two minority nations coming together.
Oh, I guess you want that to repeat? Okay, I guess.
Yeah, why not?
We shall overcome.
Well, I hope that Velma doesn't get cancelled because of having the worst ending ever, like She-Hulk. That would be tragic.
Well, it already has season 2, so I mean, how much more could you want?
Yeah.
Can they not cancel after they've greenlit it? Oh, I guess not. I guess it's coming.
Well, should we start saying goodbye and plug in some shit? Kino, I know you have a lot of stuff coming out next month.
Yeah, I have a lot of videos coming out next month, so just keep an eye out for those.
And I have a link to the Kino Corner in the description. What about you, Weekend?
I have something coming out this month, so please watch out for it on my channel.
Same shit that Kino just said?
I think it's not like I think Kino's taking a break for January and he'll have a lot of content for Feb. Is that right, Kino?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I also got an editor, so
yeah, I think I'm gonna follow the Kino. Like, I talked with someone over work and as Thai doctors do, and I told him about this side gig, and he thought maybe you're burnt out, maybe you should hire an editor. So I'm looking for that. I have found someone, so we'll see what happens in the pipeline.
Well, if you're willing to edit for Weekend Warrior for free, hit him up in the DMs on Twitter. He's looking for somebody.
I don't have Twitter. My good friend Monday Magi has it.
That's right. My bad. His cousin, his twin cousin.
Yeah, my twin cousin, who's also Thai.
Wow, I can't believe that you haven't gotten unbanned yet.
I also can't believe that Twitter is a fucking... I'm not gonna.
I have not posted a tweet since they started posting the view counts because I don't know if I can handle that ratio. Like, I don't. That's not a secret I want to know the answer to.
Wow.
It's very easy to just tune out.
It's almost going to be
although
about
I don't
1%.
care.
Yeah, I also don't have anything worth tweeting anymore, so it's just like, fuck it. I'm just done with Twitter. I literally spend more time on Letterboxd than on Twitter now. I think that is the way to do it.
Well, you should tweet out this podcast.
You should.
Oh, no.
E-Rich, do you and your dogs have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at TZARREVAN, and then find me on Letterboxd at Revan McCoy. I just watched Possession last night. Fucking wild movie.
It's a good movie, yeah.
And Florian, what would you like to plug?
Well, you guys can go to my channel right now and watch my Sonic video where there's a Heartsy appearance, and it's a great video where I shit on the Sonic Frontiers game. Check it out, everyone.
And we'll all be back next weekend with the next 2 episodes of Velma. See you then, folks.
Can't wait.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.